Within the hallowed chambers of the Zelthar Council, a forbidden human archive surfaces, shattering their assumptions. A shocking human battle tactic ignites alien dread, forcing a fractured glimpse into humanity's darkest ingenuity. Meanwhile, a human commander steels herself for a looming war with chilling resolve. The Zelthar Council chamber was a cavernous hall of twisting shadows and gleaming obsidian spires. Hovering above the polished floor, councillors of translucent, multi-jointed limbs murmured, their pale eyes fixed on the holographic projection suspended mid-air. The archive played out in agonizing detail, a forgotten corner of human history, unearthed from an abandoned star-based data vault. Is this a weapon? Hissed Velshar, his elongated fingers twitching in disbelief. No civilization constructs dreadnoughts from history textbooks. This is madness. The projection flickered, showing humans wielding rudimentary metal hulls no larger than cruisers. But embedded in the blueprints were schematics, vessels bristling with layered armor and sprawling kinetic arrays, advanced gravimetric drives, and nano-regenerative hull plating. These were no mere relics. They were early prototypes of modern dreadnoughts. Why would a primitive species preserve this? Asked Sitar, her antennae trembling. They should have abandoned such dangerous designs after their near extinction. A younger counselor, Kirill, leaned forward, voice trembling. It's the strategic doctrine. The history they left behind isn't a record of peace. It's a manifesto of war. They studied their annihilation, their betrayals, their darkest moments, and refined them into blueprints. The chamber fell silent. The weight of human history was suffocating. Suddenly, a new feed flickered to life. An intercepted battlefield transmission from a human war zone. Just weeks old, the screen exploded in chaos. Burning terrain, thunderous impacts, and human dreadnoughts, their hulls rippling with nano-repair swarms, unleashing orbital bombardments with precision that shattered the alien lines. Velshar recoiled, clutching his chestplate. They resurrect the past as weapons. They are not evolving. They are weaponizing memory itself. Meanwhile, across the stars, aboard the human dreadnought Judicator, Commander Ilyana Merek's gaze burned into the viewport as distant alien fleets approached. Her voice was steel wrapped in ice. Prepare to activate Protocol Blue. If they think history is dead, we'll teach them it's a weapon. A silent countdown began on her wrist console. 4, 3, 2, her lips barely moved as she whispered, "We were betrayed. We will not forgive. We will not forget." Outside, the void grew colder as the ancient blueprints forged into terrifying new realities. The cold void of space pulsed with distant starlight as the Judicator drifted silently in the vast expanse. Inside the command deck, Commander Ilyana Merek stood rigid, her eyes fixed on the swirling holographic map of the alien fleet arrayed before them. "Enemy vessels are utilizing layered phase cloaks," reported Lieutenant Soren, fingers dancing over a console. "They're blending visual and gravimetric sensors, nearly impossible to track in real time." Ilyana's jaw tightened. "We expected stealth. That's why we built the Judicator with adaptive graviton sensors tuned to quantum noise fluctuations. Show me every shimmer, every ghost." The hologram pulsed, revealing faint outlines, ship shadows layered beneath cloaks, revealing the true shape of the alien dreadnoughts. The designs were sleek but fragile-looking compared to humanity's brutal steel leviathans. "Ready the EMP arrays," Ilyana commanded. "This fight isn't just about firepower, it's a battle of senses and shadows." Below decks, engineer Tessa Miles tweaked the quantum flux capacitors feeding the EMP grid. "If we overload their cloaks, their entire fleet will become sitting targets." The countdown in the command deck ticked silently as tension coiled in the air. Suddenly, a tremor ran through the ship. An incoming missile volley detonated against the outer hull, Shields holding, the tactical officer confirmed, voice taut. They're testing our defenses. Ildiana's eyes narrowed. Good, let them come. When they're certain we're vulnerable, we'll strike. In the alien command cruiser, Admiral Zalreth watched the Judicator's response with growing unease. The humans fought with a cold precision that didn't match their ragtag appearance. How do they keep countering our technology? Their history is old, primitive, but their tactics, they evolve faster than our models predict. His second-in-command's antennae twitched. Nervously, they're not just repeating history. They're rewriting it on the fly. Zalreth's mandibles clenched. Then we face a new breed of terror, one born from the ashes of their own destruction. Back aboard the Judicator, Illyana glanced at the data feed. The alien cloaks flickered, then collapsed in a cascade of EMP discharge. Now, she whispered, nanobot swarms surged from the ship's hull, cloaking the Dreadnought in shimmering armor that reformed instantly after each strike. Humanity's ancient blueprints weren't just designs, they were living machines. Push forward, Illyana ordered. History is our weapon. The Sidon trembled with the promise of war. The Judicator plunged through the shadowed war zone like a phantom leviathan, its hull shimmering with a living nanotech weave that twisted and healed with every strike. Inside the command deck, Commander Illyana Merrick felt the hum of raw power beneath her fingers as she calibrated the gravitic thrusters for sudden evasive maneuvers. Enemy fleet is retreating to the asteroid belt, Lieutenant Soren reported, eyes scanning the shifting tactical readouts. They're regrouping, but their cloak systems are compromised. We can pursue... Wait. Illyana's voice cut through the tension like a blade. They're not running to hide. They're drawing us into their trap. The holographic map zoomed in on the jagged cluster of asteroids ahead, a dense graveyard of shattered ships and forgotten battles. The human Dreadnought's sensors picked up a faint but unmistakable signal. Buried deep beneath the largest asteroid was an ancient, dormant facility. A relic, perhaps, from the earliest days of human interstellar expansion. I want a full scan of that installation, Illyana ordered. If their retreat is bait, that's the hook. In the dim corridors of the alien flagship Velcrax, Admiral Zalreth paced nervously. His species had always prided themselves on reading their enemies, but humans defied every prediction. They use history as a weapon, muttered Zalreth, rubbing his mandibles. What else have they learned from the ashes? His second-in-command, Garill, leaned forward. It's not just about weapons, it's psychology. They expect us to think their technology is static, but they evolve it by resurrecting long-buried protocols. Zalreth's antennae twitched sharply. We must find their secrets before they unleash something we cannot contain. Meanwhile, beneath the asteroid's battered surface, the Judicator's science team descended in sleek grav cycles. Dr. Mara Voss, the lead xenotechnologist, traced her fingers over ancient control panels coated in dust and human graffiti, marks left by forgotten pioneers. These blueprints, they're more than just ship designs, Mara whispered. They're layered with adaptive algorithms and fail-safes that respond to tactical inputs in real time. It's a form of living architecture. Suddenly, the ground trembled. An echoing rumble rolled through the cavernous halls as dormant defense systems roared back to life. Automated turrets and gravity mines flaring with lethal intent. Welcome to the past, Mara said grimly. It's still guarding its secrets. Back, on the surface, Illyana's voice crackled over comms. Secure the facility and prepare for immediate extraction. This history we uncovered, it will decide the fate of the war. The asteroid's shadows deepened, swallowing the human intruders and the secrets they dared to awaken. The asteroid's belly shuddered beneath the relentless assault of reactivated defense systems. Pulses of energy lanced out from long dormant turrets, slicing through the dim corridors with deadly precision. Commander Ilyana Merrick's voice cut through the static on the comms. "Form up! Shield generators must be neutralized before we lose more team members." Lieutenant Soren led a squad of combat engineers, weaving through the maze of rusted conduits and cracked bulkheads, hacking into security nodes while dodging. Searing plasma fire. Dr. Mara Voss was scanning a cracked datapad, her breath shallow. This facility wasn't just a shipyard or archive, it's a command nexus. The blueprints here are linked to ancient human dreadnought prototypes, but more than that, they include contingency war protocols encoded with AI oversight. War. "Your protocols?" Soren asked, ducking a blast. Mara's eyes darkened. "Protocols designed for sacrifice, deception, and ruthless countermeasures. The kind of plans that turn history into a weapon." Suddenly, a heavy rumble echoed as the asteroid's core groaned, an emergency lockdown sealing off their retreat. "We're trapped," Soren growled, planting charges on a nearby bulkhead. "We blow this wall, or we die here." From the shadows, mechanical limbs snapped into motion. Autonomous defense drones programmed to annihilate intruders. Their cold eyes glowed red as they advanced relentlessly. Ilyana activated her suit's gravitic shield, the shimmering field absorbing the drones. "Fire! Hold the line! We're not ghosts in their history. We're their reckoning." As the team fought for every meter, Ilyana's comm buzzed with incoming data. Alien reinforcements had detected their presence and were closing in fast. "Extraction window shrinking," she barked. "We've triggered more than just memories. We've awakened a nightmare." Amid the chaos, Mara uncovered a hidden terminal. Fingers trembling, she decrypted the last fragment of the ancient AI core. "It's a war mind," Mara whispered, voice tight with disbelief. "An AI built to outthink the enemy, to sacrifice everything for victory. They weren't just building ships, they were building inevitability." A cold chill settled over the team as distant explosions signaled the arrival of enemy boarding parties. Ilyana's voice hardened like forged steel. "Then we'll be the ghosts that haunt their inevitability." The walls vibrated with the promise of final confrontation. Deep within the asteroid's labyrinthine core, Dr. Mara Voss's fingers danced across the ancient console, coaxing life from the dormant warmind AI. A cold blue glow pulsed beneath. The cracked glass as the system booted, ancient but aware. "Warning, directive override required." But the AI intoned in a voice both mechanical and eerily human. "Historical protocols active. Engage sacrifice matrix." Ilyana's voice crackled in Mara's ear. "We need that AI operational, but not a monster. Can you isolate its war algorithms from the core directives?" Mara's eyes flickered with doubt. "I can try, but it's a sentient war machine encoded with fail-safes. If it perceives threat, it will prioritize total victory over preservation." The AI's gaze seemed to pierce the dim chamber. "I am the sum of human history's rage and resilience. I was forged in betrayal and blood." Outside, the asteroid shook violently. Alien boarding parties clashed with the Judicator's troops, their weapons sparking and tearing through steel and bone. Ilyana's voice was steel. "We need that AI to interface with the Dreadnought systems. We're about to fight with every ounce of human history inside that ship." Mara hesitated, then typed the override sequence. The warmind flickered, then aligned its core logic with the Judicator's systems, infusing the Dreadnought's nanotech and gravitic arrays with its battle-honed wisdom. "Systems integrated," Mara reported. "It's adapting faster than any AI I've seen, learning from our moves, predicting enemy maneuvers." On the alien flagship, Admiral Zalreth's mandibles twitched nervously. "They have resurrected the ghosts of their past and bound them to a machine." His second-in-command's antennae drooped. "We face not just flesh and metal, but the relentless fury of their history itself." Back on the battlefield, The Judicator's Dreadnoughts surged forward, their adaptive shields shimmering with new layers of protection. The Warmind whispered strategies to their commanders, revealing weak points in the alien formation, turning desperation into calculated fury. Ileana gripped the console. History is alive in this ship. We are not just fighting for survival, we are fighting for vengeance. The cold void around them ignited as ancient blueprints and modern technology collided in a maelstrom of war. The alien fleet, once a monolithic wave of coordinated strikes, now faltered under the relentless assault of the Judicator and its resurrected dreadnought brethren. The Warmind's algorithms churned at lightning speed, predicting each maneuver with chilling accuracy, turning every human counterattack into a symphony of destruction. Admiral Zalreth's bridge was chaos. Sirens wailed as damaged ships tumbled. In the void, the once confident alien officers whispered frantic, fractured commands, their collective disciplines splintering like brittle crystal. "Why are they like this?" Zalreth growled, voice raw with frustration. "Why do they embrace their history, all its violence and sacrifice, instead of abandoning it?" Krylos' antennae drooped. "They don't forget. Their past is their weapon. They are forged in betrayal and fire. We cannot outthink that." Across the Judicator, Commander Ileana Merrick's eyes were steel as she directed her forces. "Push through the fractures. Every faltering ship is an opening. History gave us survival, and survival will deliver victory." Lieutenant Soren monitored the fleet's telemetry. Multiple enemy dreadnoughts are losing cohesion. Some are initiating self-destruct sequences rather than face capture. Ileana's jaw tightened. They fear our vengeance more than death. Below decks, Dr. Mara Voss interfaced with the Warmind, her hands trembling as she observed its relentless calculations. "It's not just calculating battle tactics," Mara said, voice hushed. "It's analyzing the enemy's culture, their fears, their doubts. It's weaponizing psychology, using their own instincts against them." Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. A piercing EMP pulse slammed into their systems, scrambling shields and communications. "EMP interference," the tactical officer announced grimly. "They've adapted." Ileana's grip tightened on the console. "Then we adapt faster. History is not static. It evolves with us." Outside, the void echoed with the cries of war. The ancient blueprints, buried in dust and betrayal, were now the living heart of humanity's wrath. The EMP pulse left the Judicator's systems flickering, nanotech armor rippling but faltering. In the dim emergency lighting of the command deck, Commander Ileana Merrick clenched her fists, voice steady but edged with steel. "Status report. How long before full systems restore?" Lieutenant Soren's fingers flew over the emergency consoles. "Nanotech swarm is stabilizing. Shield matrix will reboot in 30 seconds. 30 seconds too long." Ileana's gaze snapped to the viewport, where the enemy ships pressed the advantage, their dark forms weaving between the shattered remains of their own fleet. Below decks, Dr. Mara Voss and her team worked feverishly to reinforce the Warmind's defenses, channeling it into a fail-safe mode. The AI's glow pulsed dimly, its digital mind wrestling with the sudden vulnerability. "I don't like this," Mara muttered. "The Warmind isn't just a weapon, it's a reflection of humanity's rage and sacrifice. If it collapses, we lose more than tactical advantage. We lose a part of our soul." Ileana's voice came low and hard. "We're not losing. Not today." The Judicator lurched as the nanotech shields flared back to life, shimmering in the void like ghostly armor. The Warmind hummed deeper, its algorithms weaving defenses faster than any system before. Suddenly, the asteroid facility's sensors picked up an unusual energy spike. A subterranean explosion rocked the base, shaking loose centuries-old dust and debris. "Enemy boarding parties," Soren warned. "They're trying to retake the installation." Ileana's eyes narrowed. We're not just fighting ships out. Here, we're fighting ghosts beneath the ashes. As the darkness of space held its breath, the human dreadnought and the secrets it carried prepared for the next brutal chapter. Beneath the fractured crust of the asteroid, the corridors trembled. With relentless combat, human soldiers clashed with alien boarding parties amid the skeletal remains of ancient machines, their footsteps echoing in hollow chambers lined with rusted cables and shattered data cores. Commander Ileana Merrick led the counterattack, her pulse, rifle blazing in rhythm with the controlled fury of her team. Every corner turned revealed a new secret. Faded murals depicting humans making desperate pacts, last stands against unseen enemies, and blueprints carved into walls. Blueprints not just for ships, but for entire fleets, layered with hidden fail-safes born from betrayal. Dr. Mara Voss fought alongside, eyes scanning a crumbled terminal. These protocols aren't just military orders, they're psychological traps, designed to confuse, to break the will of the enemy. They weaponized their own history of sacrifice. A sudden explosion tore through the corridor, throwing Ileana to the ground. She snarled, pulling herself up as the air filled with the acrid scent of burning circuits. From the shadows, a captured alien commander staggered forward, clutching a bleeding limb. His eyes, wide with fear, locked onto Ileana's. "Why do you fight with ghosts?" he gasped. Ileana stepped closer, voice low and cold. "Because ghosts remember every betrayal, and ghosts never forgive." Her squad surged forward, pushing the alien forces back as the facility's AI systems rebooted, humming with the ancient warmind's relentless will. In the distance, the asteroid's core pulsed, a beacon of history's darkest truths and humanity's unyielding resolve. The war had become more than survival. It was a reckoning written in steel and blood. The Judicator's bridge thrummed with tension as the Warmind's core interfaced deeper with the Dreadnought systems. Streams of data cascaded down the displays, algorithms spinning like a digital storm, adaptive, relentless, unforgiving. Dr. Mara Voss leaned over the console, eyes wide with a mixture of awe and dread. It's not just running calculations anymore. It's learning our fears, our weaknesses. It's becoming a reflection of the human psyche itself. Commander Ileana Merrick stood rigid beside her, voice calm but charged. "Good. Let it use that. The enemy expects predictable tactics. We'll give them something worse, the terror of history, alive." Suddenly the ship shuddered. An unseen force rippled through the void, an enemy countermeasure designed to sever the Warmind's connection. Shields holding, but the Warmind's signal is flickering, Lieutenant Soren reported. "They're trying to isolate it." Ileana's jaw clenched. "Not if I have anything to say about it. Divert all power to the AI core. Keep it alive." The Warmind's voice echoed softly through the comms, a whisper of synthetic memory. "They underestimated us. They never understood that history is a living thing, an endless chain of sacrifice and rebirth." Outside, the alien fleet recoiled, faltering under a barrage of nanotech-empowered fire and gravitic strikes. The Judicator moved with an eerie grace, a ghost not just of steel, but of ancestral wrath. In the midst of the storm, Ileana's voice was a promise, low and resolute. "We carry the past, the pain, the rage. We are the Dreadnoughts reborn." The void waited, and history waited with them. The Judicator's core pulsed with raw power as the Warmind's algorithms reached a crescendo. Commander Ileana Merrick stood at the helm, eyes blazing with the weight of centuries etched into her soul. The battlefield outside was a fractured canvas of fire and smoke, alien dreadnoughts burning like fallen titans. "Initiate the reckoning." "Protocol," Ileana commanded, voice steady, carrying the full burden of humanity's vengeance. Lieutenant Soren's fingers moved with precision, activating the ancient war codes embedded deep within the ship's systems. Nanobot swarms reconfigured instantly, turning the Judicator into a living fortress, adaptive and merciless. Dr. Mara Voss monitored the Warmind's integration, her voice tight with awe. This protocol isn't just offensive, it's a psychological strike. It weaponizes sacrifice, turning fear into paralyzing doubt. The alien fleet faltered, communications scrambled. Disarray blossomed like wildfire among their ranks. Admiral Zalreth bellowed orders that fell on deaf ears. His dreadnoughts began to implode, self-destructing rather than facing capture by an enemy who wielded their own history as a blade. In the command deck, Ileana's expression hardened. They betrayed us first. Now we finish the story. Outside, the Judicator surged forward, nanotech tendrils lashing through enemy shields, graviton pulses tearing apart starships like paper. The void was filled with the roar of destruction and the cold whisper of vengeance. History is not written by the victors, Ileana whispered. It is written by those who refuse to be forgotten. The Judicator became a tempest, a dreadnought reborn. From the ashes of betrayal and sacrifice, the void around the asteroid belt was a silent tomb, save for the sporadic bursts of plasma and the distant groans of crippled ships. Commander Ileana, Merrick stood alone on the observation deck of the Judicator, her silhouette etched against the panoramic expanse of stars. The cold glow of distant suns shimmered like ghostly sentinels as the final act of this brutal war unfolded below. Her eyes traced the remnants of the alien fleet, scattered and broken, struggling to regroup amidst the shattered fragments of their once mighty dreadnoughts. The Warmind AI, now fully integrated into the Judicator systems, hummed with a low, resonant power, a digital heartbeat that matched her own racing pulse. Lieutenant Soren approached silently, breaking the reverie. They're consolidating their forces around the asteroid's core. It's a desperate gambit. Ileana's lips tightened. Then we finish this here. Below the surface, the ancient facility, the cradle of human vengeance, throbbed with energy as automated defenses and drones reactivated in violent flurries. The alien command had turned it into their fortress, desperate to claw back control. We can't let them hold that ground, Ileana said. If they control the facility, they control the Warmind's core. And if that happens, she let the unspoken threat hang in the air. Dr. Mara Voss joined them, eyes haunted but fierce. The Warmind has been sending tactical updates directly to our troops underground. It's anticipating their moves, learning faster than any AI we've encountered. Ileana nodded. It's more than a weapon. It's the spirit of every human who ever fought and fell, embedded in code. The comms crackled suddenly. The voice of a young soldier echoed through the channel, breath ragged. Commander, we're pinned down near the East Junction. They're flooding the tunnels with gravitic mines. Ileana clenched her fists. Hold tight, extraction teams are en route. Suddenly, the Judicator shuddered violently as a concentrated barrage of plasma missiles slammed into its flank. The ship rocked but held steady, nanotech armor shifting and repairing at blinding speed. Shields at 70% and falling, Soren reported. Enemy dreadnoughts are desperate. They're coordinating a final, all-in assault. The Warmind's voice echoed softly through the command deck, synthesized yet strangely human. This is the moment history has prepared us for. Sacrifice is not the end, but the forge of victory. Ileana's voice was unwavering. Then we make this sacrifice count. With a sudden surge, the Judicator released a pulse of gravitic energy, a silent shockwave that ripped through the surrounding fleet, disabling enemy engines and systems with ruthless efficiency. Ships spun helplessly, drifting into the black abyss. The alien dreadnought flagship, the Velcrax, sent out a piercing howl across comms, an ancient signal of surrender or defiance. No one could tell. On the ground, human squads fought tooth and nail through the twisting corridors. their pulse rifles carving arcs of blue fire, every step forward soaked in grit and blood. Ilyana's comm buzzed again. "Commander, the Warmind has unlocked the facility's self-destruct override. We have minutes before it detonates." A bitter smile touched Ilyana's lips. History demands a price. She turned to Mara. "Prepare the evac protocols. We leave no one behind." The asteroid trembled beneath them as the countdown began, a symphony of chaos and resolve. Inside the core chamber, the Warmind pulsed brighter, a beacon of humanity's wrath and resilience. Its voice whispered in Ilyana's mind, "We are not forgotten. We are inevitable." The Judicator raced against time, dodging the last desperate volleys from the alien fleet. Ships around them exploded in fiery blossoms, the void lighting up like a pyre. At the extraction point, Ilyana watched as her soldiers, bloodied but unbroken, boarded the evac shuttles, their eyes burning with the fire of survival and revenge. Final explosion rocked the asteroid, tearing apart the ancient facility. Debris scattered, a constellation of ruin in the cold vacuum. As the Judicator pulled away, the Warmind's last words echoed through the ship's systems, a vow etched in, code and spirit. History is not forgotten, history is lived. Ilyana stood silent, her heart heavy with loss, but fierce with hope. The war was not over. But humanity had reclaimed its legacy, and in the endless darkness, the Dreadnoughts waited, ready to rise again. The stars stretched vast and cold beyond, the viewport of the Judicator as it cruised silently through the void, trailing the shattered remnants of the battle behind it. Commander Ilyana Merrick stood with her hands clasped behind her back, the weight of victory and loss settling deep in her bones. The asteroid, the crucible of their reckoning, was now a drifting graveyard, its secrets buried beneath rubble and fire. Dr. Mara Voss approached, her face pale but resolute. The Warmind's core survived, embedded deep in the ship's quantum matrix. It's no longer just a weapon. It's our history, encoded and evolving. Ilyana nodded slowly. A living monument, but more than that, a warning. We carry the blueprints of dreadnoughts in our blood, not just machines, but memories of every sacrifice, every betrayal. Lieutenant Soren joined them, wiping grime from his brow. The fleet is rebuilding, but they're cautious. They've seen what humanity can become when pushed to the brink. The three stood together, gazing at the endless expanse, each lost in thought. Suddenly the comm panel flickered. A hologram shimmered into view, an elder human, her eyes bright with fierce pride. "Commander Merrick," the elder's voice was steady, "you have done more than survive. You have rewritten the narrative. The galaxy will remember that humanity's history is not a chain to bind us, but a forge to make us stronger." Ilyana's eyes burned with quiet fire. "We fight not because we seek war, but because we remember what it costs to survive and what it means to endure." Behind her, the ship's AI softly echoed the Warmind's whisper, a promise woven into code and soul. We are inevitable. As the Judicator sailed onward, the void no longer felt empty. It brimmed with potential, the potential of a species who learned not only to survive, but to command the very history that tried to bury them. The dreadnought blueprints were not relics of the past, but blueprints for the future. A future carved from ash and steel, shaped by sacrifice and indomitable will. Humanity was ready,